Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Whether or Not. We are your co-hosts for this evening's show. I'm Salix Iverson.
And I'm Ryan DePhillips. So, Salix, we had a pretty cloudy and dreary start to this last week in October.
Yes, Ryan, but we did have some sunshine peek through the clouds on Wednesday. However, later this week, there was widespread rain across the Commonwealth due to the remnants of Hurricane Zeta, which ended up impacting a lot of local communities' Halloween festivities.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, Salix, but with Halloween and Penn State's first home football game coming up on Saturday, more people may be out and about. So, Dan will have the full details on what conditions may be like.
But before that, we have some nature in the news stories. I have two stories this week, one about drought vulnerability across the United States, and the other about a mosquito outbreak in Louisiana that was caused by the weather.
For my nature in the news stories, I'll be talking about a record-breaking snowfall event in Salix's hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and how coastal flooding along the coastal United States is worsening. We will also have a feature from our very own Allison Gutleber on Foilage.
But first, here is Nature in the News. As of October 27th, Centre County remains in a severe drought, with much of the surrounding area in a moderate drought. About 39% of the United States is currently experiencing drought. Drought is one of the most costliest disasters in the United States, costing approximately $6.2 billion per year on average. A recent study ranked each state with how prepared they are for the impacts of drought. This index is based on three factors: exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity. Exposure is the frequency of drought, the population, and freshwater ecosystems that could be impacted. Sensitivity is the state's likelihood of being negatively impacted by drought. Adaptive capacity is the state's preparedness for drought and the ability to recover. Oklahoma was ranked as the most vulnerable state due to its extensive cattle ranching, other agriculture, and limited possibility for irrigation. Pennsylvania, however, ranked low on this index, but that means that we can still experience drought and its impacts, but we are able to bounce back faster than other states.
Looking for record-breaking snow and cold this fall? Minneapolis had both of that on Tuesday, October 20th, with an early season snowstorm. Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport's 7.9 inches of snowfall broke a daily record set all the way back in 1916 as 3 inches of snowfall fell. Also, the high temperature of just 33 degrees Fahrenheit was a record daily low maximum temperature for the city. Most of the Twin Cities area received a swath of at least 4 to 6 inches of snowfall that caused plenty of power outages and many travel headaches. 33,500 customers lost power, and 493 crashes were reported from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. that Tuesday. Fortunately, no fatalities were reported. While significant October snowfall is certainly not unheard of in Minnesota, the magnitude at which it occurred nearly was. The only Minnesota October snowstorm more significant than this one was the infamous Halloween 1991 blizzard.
When thinking of the aftermath of a hurricane landfall, most think of storm surge and severe flooding. However, the residents of Louisiana have another problem to deal with. After the landfall of Hurricane Delta, Louisiana has become infested with mosquitoes. Due to the flooding and standing water, mosquitoes have been thriving in southwestern Louisiana. To help fight these pests, the United States Air Force was called in. 2 Air Force aircrafts were sent down to southern Louisiana for a scheduled spraying. The sprayings begin at dusk when the mosquitoes are most active and can take up to 5 hours to complete. Each aircraft can treat 120,000 acres of land in one mission. This is not the first time that the Air Force has been needed to be called in after a hurricane. In 2017, after Hurricane Harvey's landfall, a similar spraying needed to happen. Here's hoping that with the recent landfall of Hurricane Zeta, the mosquitoes will remain quiet.
Astronomical high tides are causing more frequent coastal flooding in the United States, especially with the help of sea level rise. Studies suggest that U.S. high tide flooding frequency has doubled since 2000 and could double or triple by 2030. Coastal communities will also continue to become more threatened by coastal flooding while affecting people's lives, properties, and infrastructure. As high tides become higher, the risk for a scenario where a 2-foot flood above high tide increases. Across the country, over 450,000 people, over 267,000 homes, over 5,300 roadways, and nearly 800 hazardous sites would be at high risk. Many coastal communities will also have to deal with an increase in heavier precipitation and storm surge. However, this study excludes the effects of stronger coastal storms and heavier precipitation events, as higher high tides will be the main culprit.
I'm student meteorologist Dan Guzman here with your Central PA forecast. Over the past week or so, we've been dealing with some pretty cool weather and some below average temperatures, but that is going to change into the big weekend for the start of November. The setup for Friday includes the remnants of Hurricane Zeta off the coast of New Jersey over the Atlantic Ocean, and that is going to be bringing some rain showers for most of the northeastern United States, and even some snow showers for upstate New York and parts of New England that reach freezing. For Saturday, that low pressure is going to move out of the area, high pressure will build, and sunny conditions are expected. Temperatures will be very cold though, remaining below average, mostly in the 40s throughout the day. And for Sunday, low pressure does move in once more with some rain showers expected across Pennsylvania and New England again. Over the Great Lakes region, snow is expected as temperatures will be near and below freezing. The forecast for State College Friday includes a high of 46 degrees with cloudy skies. Those clouds will diminish throughout the night with a low of 27 degrees. And then for the big day on Saturday, not only because it's Halloween, it is also Ohio State versus Penn State at 7:30 p.m. So if you are going out trick-or-treating throughout the day, make sure you bundle up. The high will only be about 45 degrees. And if you are participating in any on-campus watch parties for the Ohio State game, make sure you bundle up because temperatures will be nearing freezing in the overnight hours. Lastly, for Sunday, those rainy conditions are expected once again with a high of 51 degrees. Up next, Allison Gutleber will have a feature on fall foliage.
Every fall, nature gives us a show of colors in many parts of the United States. The fall foliage season changes our normal green leaves into vibrant colors of red, orange, and yellow. Chemicals inside these leaves are called pigments, and they help change the green into the 3 other colors. There are 4 main pigments: chlorophyll, the most common one and the one you've probably heard of before in a basic science class, xanthophylls, the pigment of the yellow leaf, carotenoids for the orange leaf, and anthocyanins for the red leaf pigment. In the summer, the leaves appear to be green when they are making a lot of chlorophyll during the process of photosynthesis, where plants make energy through sunlight. As the season changes into fall, less sunlight is present throughout the day, allowing for leaves to prepare for winter and stop creating chlorophyll. The time frame when these leaves turn colors can be caused by the weather. Temperature drops as the season progresses, and the amounts of precipitation can cause how early the leaves start to change. In the United States, the fall foliage season lasts over 3 months. It starts in the north around the first week of September and ends in the south in November. Unlike most states, PA has a long peak time. Pennsylvania's peak color starts during early October for the northern region of the state. The central region typically reaches full color in mid-October, but for the southeastern Pennsylvania region, peak color occurs during the last 2 weeks of October. According to the 2020 Fall Foliage Prediction Map, the minimal changes were estimated to begin around September 7th. By the 14th, near-peak fall foliage occurs in the Midwest. Into the 3rd week of September, most of the United States has no change, but parts of Wisconsin, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana are expected to have peaked. The last week of September, the northern half of the U.S. has a range of minimal to past peak. By the first week of October, the leaves start to change towards the middle of the country, and Pennsylvania reaches the peak in the northeastern portion of the state. The colors of the leaves are changing all over Pennsylvania except in the southeast. By the second week of October, most states have seen some type of change if they aren't at peak just yet. Around October 12th, the northern region of the U.S. has peaked and is now starting to turn brown. But the South still has a few weeks until they start changing into those colorful pigments. Over the last 2 weeks of October, which we are currently in, most of the United States has reached its peak, while having a peak still occurring in the mid to southern portion. The western portion of Pennsylvania leaves are starting to fade, but the southeastern part is seeing its peak this week. Delaware Valley will be approaching its best color in the next few days. By November, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and other southern states touching the coast will see their peak. By November 23rd on the map, the most southern portions of Florida and Texas will be at the end of their peak. This map is just a rough guide of what we have seen and what we will see in the future, but Mother Nature often has other plans we cannot account for. If you miss fall foliage peaks in your own state, there are still a few weeks left to see the peaks in the South or even in Pennsylvania for the next couple of days. From Weather or Not, I'm Allison Gutleber.
I'm student meteorologist Dan Guzman back here with your extended forecast. Starting off with the weekend recap, we see Friday we will have some cloudy weather with a high of 46 degrees and a low of 27 overnight. And then the big day on Saturday for Halloween, a high of 45 degrees for the day, so make sure to bundle up if you're going out trick-or-treating, and a low of 33 degrees. So make sure if you're at any of those on-campus watch parties that are going to be outdoors, make sure you bring a jacket. And for Sunday, that rainy weather is expected to return with a high of 51 degrees and a low of 30 degrees. The extended forecast, we do see temperatures will be going on a warm trend. Warmer temperatures will arrive near the end of the week around average, which is 61 for this time of year. So Monday we will have some rain showers left over from Sunday. Clearing up throughout midweek, Tuesday and Wednesday are expected to be pretty sunny, and then some more clouds will return toward the end of the week. Now back to you.
And now back to our Weather Whiz quiz question. Which Halloween year marked the largest October snowstorm in Minnesota history? Is it A, 1981, B, 1987, C, 1991, or D, 2003?
And the correct answer is C, 1991. This Halloween was definitely a snowy one with 8.2 inches of snowfall, just 0.3 inches more than what Minneapolis had this last Tuesday.
Growing up in Minneapolis, I personally never experienced a snowy Halloween, but I do remember always having to come up with a costume where I could wear a jacket.
And that's all the time we have for tonight's show. Remember to turn back your clocks at 2 a.m. this Sunday, as you'll be gaining an hour of sleep. We are your co-hosts. I'm Ryan DePhillips.
And I'm Salix Iverson. Have a great evening and a happy Halloween, everyone.